we've got a Browning automatic rifle, and it is on loan to us from the usual suspects. But this is not an actual Browning, though. This is a reproduction. It's made by a company called Ohio Ordnance, and this is one of their earlier ones that they made. They bought a bunch of surplus BAR parts that were available, and then they made the receiver. Obviously, the internals of that receiver are going to be different than the original Browning because the Browning was a machine gun. You're not allowed to make machine guns anymore. This is a semi-automatic. It's chambered in 30-06, but a lot of the parts on it are surplus BAR parts. The barrel, for example, is dated 1944, and I'm sure a lot of the other parts are original BAR parts too, whether they were made in the 50s, 60s, 40s, whenever. But this gun, again, Browning automatic rifle. It was created by John Moses Browning. And in 1917, America got sucked into World War I. And it wasn't called World War I at the time. It was called the Great War, the war to end all wars. It was literally a family dispute that 9 million soldiers ended up getting killed in. But beside that point, the American soldier, the main battle rifle at the time was a Springfield 1903 chambered in 30-06. It was a bolt-action rifle. And the soldiers wanted a automatic rifle that they could take the trenches with. At the time, there was a couple options they had. One was the Lewis gun, which was real bulky and difficult to carry and fire. There was, what was it called? There was the French, hang on, let me get it right here, the Chauchat. And it was very unreliable. It had an open magazine. I mean, and I say unreliable, it couldn't even make it through a magazine without malfunctions. So John Browning created this, and it was meant to be fired from the hip or from the shoulder by a single infantryman. And the original one did not have the bipod in 1918. And what it was meant to do, the infantryman would have like a pouch here. It was almost like a holster. You'd stick the butt of this in, and then you would hip fire it and approach the trenches going semi-automatic to keep the enemy pinned down. And then when you got there, you would flip to full auto and clear out the trench. And that was the idea behind it. And it, the operator of this, he'd carry, 4 to 6 extra magazines on his waist, and he would have 2 assistants, a first assistant and a second assistant, and they would each carry 6 or 8 extra magazines for him. The first assistant would carry a Springfield 1903, and the second assistant would carry a Colt 1911, which that would be a horrible job to be the second assistant out on the battlefield with a Colt 1911, not a rifle. And I always thought hip shooting had been born in 1980s Hollywood action movies, but turns out it came out in 1918. So, of course, this gun was then used in World War II, Korea and Vietnam a little bit. The version that came out for World War II, the A2, it didn't even have semi-automatic. It had 2 separate cyclic rates. One was about 350 to 400 rounds per minute, and then the other was 600 to 700 rounds per minute. So they didn't have semi-automatic at all. So, but not a lot of people get to even hold one of these, let alone carry one. So I'm real grateful to my friends to loaning it to me. This is actually Mike's personal gun, and when he loaned it to me, he told me to take care of his child. So we're just going to put some bullets through it though, and wake up the neighbors. So let's go shoot it. Okay, I didn't mention this before, but I weighed this thing. Loaded with a 20-round magazine and the bipod, weighs 20.6 pounds. And then it has a 26-inch barrel on it. So there's definitely some heat coming out the end of this. Okay, we're gonna put some on paper. Let's go for a splatter target this time. missing that one, aren't I? Go back to the black target. All right, let's try some steel. You see, we took down the steel at 15 yards. We're not going to shoot, even though it's AR-500, we're not going to shoot steel 15 yards away with a 30-06. There we go. Hitting with some authority. Oh, we're empty. So not too bad, not too bad. Ah. Now, I asked Mike too. These mags, extra mags, are about 75 bucks. So not real cheap. And I know I've shared the story before about almost buying a Thompson in the early 90s. And I passed on it, which was very foolish. I also considered buying one of these in the early 90s, and I can't remember the exact price at the time, but it was only a few $1,000s, and if you check GunBroker, they are way, way more than that now. And that was an NFA registered one too. So, now, you know, one of the things about this gun I thought was interesting, Forgotten Weapons has got some great videos on this gun, multiple videos on it. Ian does a great job, one of my favorite channels to watch. But John Browning took a flat rate for this gun, which means he only received about 20% of what he was entitled to for making this gun. He designed the gun, Winchester, Colt, and Marlin produced it. But he was entitled to you know, a certain amount of money for each gun produced, but he declined to take that. It was a willful decision by him, and it was because he wanted to help the war effort and help America win. You know, so not only was he a genius with firearms, he's a very patriotic American too. So. Alrighty. I wonder how effective this is against watermelon. Whoa! Pretty effective. Let's try that bottle. Let me ask you, how safe do you feel behind a cinder block wall? Let's find out. Not very safe. And let's go for that last watermelon down there. Whoa! Let's try a little shoulder fire. Not the dummy. Oh, malfunction. Okay. Hang on a sec. Let's clear the magazine. Nope. Not liking that one. What you got to do, hold this with one hand. There you go. Huh. Yeah, for whatever reason, I didn't like that round, but okay. That, not liking that either. There we go. Back on the dummy. That one should be empty. Yep. So,
Now what I'd like to do, woo, that barrel gets hot. What I'd like to do, I'm gonna load up some rounds. We'll go down in the ravine and let's just do a little bit of rapid hip firing just to see what the climb rate's like on it. We're gonna do some hip shooting, 1980 style, or actually 1918 style. So. Hey, this thing is a blast. I'm very grateful for my friends loaning it to me. It's an American classic. Helped win World War I, World War II. Probably saved a lot of lives in Korea and Vietnam too. I know the soldiers liked them, and it's just been a blast to shoot. So thanks for watching Ghost Gun Range.